Today on Locked On Rockies, they just did what for the first time?
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today. It is the 11th day of July in the year 2022. I am on the road in the mobile studio here, bringing the mobile setup for your Locked On Rockies podcast today. So if things look and sound a little bit different, then, then you can clearly see that I'm not in where I usually record. But today on Locked On Rockies, we are going to be talking about the Rockies doing something that I can't believe is a first, winning their first 3-game series in Arizona in Chase Field history. We're also going to talk about two big players that have made impacts on that. We'll actually probably talk about more players, but there's one player, and I'm pretty sure you can all guess who we're going to talk about and why it's so significant from their impact this weekend. And now a little bit of the what if game gets to sneak back in here as well. We'll also talk about the Rockies All-Star. We'll also look ahead as well here, and let's start by diving in and let's just play the spoiler. And I think Nicholas has put it in the live chat as well, and I think this is what he's meaning to is it's about time that Kris Bryant started hitting home runs. This is what the Rockies were looking for. This is why the Rockies were hoping for Kris Bryant to sign with the Rockies. This is what they were looking for him to do. This is what the Rockies need Kris Bryant to do. And we talked last week about the importance of home runs. We talked about how this Rockies team simply cannot sit there and not score runs, and how big were all of Kris Bryant's home runs in the Rockies series win. He was the main damage dealer and scored 2 of the Rockies' 6 runs in the game on Friday, leading to that run. He also has the big home run in the game on Thursday, where he gets that RBI there, and a massive one at that for the Rockies. So it's not only important that the Rockies are hitting home runs, it's important that Kris Bryant is being the one that to do that, to be the one that the Rockies can count on to bring the runners home, and not just by doing it by hitting dinky singles. Kris Bryant has the nickname K-Boom, like Joel says in the live chat, for a reason, and he needs to start doing that consistently. And I mean, it's good that he put together a solid string of games with home runs. To get to quadruple his home run total in one series is a very, very good sign. What we're seeing right now is an impactful Kris Bryant, and we're seeing it have an impact on the Rockies lineup. This is why having Kris Bryant is important, and it's how it mixes things up, and how it does bring up the what if game. I don't think it's enough. I don't think Kris Bryant is magically making the Rockies some crazy sort of contender. It's not going to make the Rockies magically better on defense and eliminate all the bad defense they've played this year and the bad pitching performances. However, you can start saying what if and making the argument that the Rockies' issues with runners in scoring position, especially on the road, as we've seen Kris Bryant now only launching home runs for the Rockies on the road so far. I have that right. He hit the first one there in what was it, Dodger Stadium or something like that, and then it was there in Arizona. Those were the last chunk of games for the Rockies anyway. So it had to have done that, or was the first one? I can't remember. Sorry, I've been on vacation there too, so that part's sketchy. But anyway, Kris Bryant clearly is swinging the bat well still. And again, you were waiting for the long ball and for waiting for him to come out there, but the fact that he was coming out and getting hits immediately after his IL stint, and the fact that he was saying after that stint that he was feeling healthy, he was feeling better, that is the true impact. Now we were finally getting to see the Kris Bryant that we got to see 2 weeks of when the Rockies were one of the best teams in baseball to start the beginning of the season. I think the Rockies are not in as big of a hole as they are if Kris Bryant plays with this team all all 162 if he doesn't have the IL stint. But it's not, like I said, it's not going to make up for everything. We also saw the Rockies get crushed by Arizona, and it's come off of the result of, again, pitching that just has not been consistent and has not been great for the Rockies this year. Chris Bryant isn't a pitcher. Chris Bryant isn't going to help that, but Chris Bryant is certainly going to help the Rockies not go 3 for 30 with runners in scoring position in series, and be a person that makes pitchers have to completely reevaluate and change how they approach the Rockies in the lineup. Chris Bryant's X factor adds just a whole wrinkle to teams preparing and how they approach for the Rockies that they didn't have to do for a good chunk of the season. And now it's kind of re-looking at the Rockies in a different light. And because of that, the Rockies now go on to win their first 4-game series at Chase Field in Rockies history. And that is crazy to me. And I saw some similar reaction on Twitter, I think, from some folks tonight. But that seems very odd to me that the Rockies have not been able to go out in Arizona. I mean, obviously looking back, it does seem like that Arizona has been one of those places that has been the home of many a frustrating Rockies game. But it was good for them to go out and bounce back and set another first. I mean, again, it's good when you're setting a first of in the positive direction. It's also interesting that the Rockies were so close to setting that errorless streak there in this stretch of the season that's had such bad defense in there as well. There's sometimes you still get these weird streaks, these weird stretches where you can piece things together. And again, division wins are always important. And is taking down the Diamondbacks, what does that mean for the Rockies in the terms of the big picture in the hunt or anything like that? Not much outside of the fact that they got out of the NL West basement, which is going to feel good. It's going to feel good that you went out and you know what? This road trip wasn't exactly what you were hoping for, but it was a lot better than it could have been, and a lot better than you expected as well, especially after the Rockies get swept in LA. They go in and to salvage 3 of 4 to make the road trip a 3-4 road trip, where it very easily could have been a 1 in X with what was a 1-8 road trip, a 2-7. I mean, that 3-game win, and especially today to steal the win, the Rockies were certainly not in a position in this game. I'm recording on Sunday, obviously, if you're listening to this on Monday, but in Sunday's game, for the Rockies to take advantage of the mistakes. Again, they were down and it was classic road Rockies, but again, they overcame and took advantage of the situation, something that they haven't done, and that makes it a big deal. That 3-4 in a division road trip makes it makes the pill easier to swallow, especially when you look at how the Dodgers are just absolutely rolling right now, like you expect. So, and you look at that Dodgers series, and again, one of those games kind of gets out of hand there. It doesn't feel like it's close, but the Rockies were in Monday and Wednesday's game for the most part, and again, they stay in these close games. All 3 wins against the Diamondbacks, 1-run wins, close, hard-fought games, and in today's instance, taking advantage of an error and bouncing back and doing something massive. That's a big shift, and especially to do that on the road, it's a win. Big picture, grand scheme of things, wild card, it's not going to help too much, but division wins are the most important type of wins that you can get. And you're going to feel good when you're on the plane, knowing that that's the first time that you all went out to Arizona and took out the Diamondbacks in 3 of 4. Now, it doesn't come at a cost, and we got to talk about the cost and, a little bit of the stuff of concern, but another player that stepped it up, and another thing that we kind of got a glimpse of a what if scenario. But before we dive into that, I forgot to mention, and we're going to dive into this here later on. Today's episode of Locked On Rockies is brought to you by the Sports Card Investor app. Rockies fans, you're going to love this. Today's episode is brought to you by the Sports Card Investor app, and welcome to the world of trading cards reimagined. Stay tuned later in the show for more information on the awesome new tool for collectors. You're going to want to check this out if you are a card collector, and you're going to want to check out the Sports Card Collector app, or the sports card investor app. It's perfect for collectors. That's what I wanted to say. But today's episode is also brought to you by Athletic Greens. You've seen me drink Athletic Greens right here on the show. If you don't believe me, you can go in the archive. You can see the other ad reads where I mix it up. I drink it for you, and it is awesome. It's 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your focus, your recovery, aging, all the things, folks. It's so, I mean, really, it really is so easy. And it's just, it's a perfect, it for me, as someone who doesn't drink coffee, as someone who doesn't always eat breakfast, because here's the thing, you're supposed to drink it before you eat your breakfast, because it's going to help you absorb your breakfast. It's going to kind of help you start your day off right and help get your body moving and grooving. But for me, it gives me a little boost of energy, gives me a little something in the stomach when I wake up, and it's just something that feels good going in. And guess what? It's going to fit with your lifestyle. It's paleo friendly, vegan friendly, keto friendly, dairy free, gluten free, contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs. And folks, right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Diving into the live chat here, Nicholas says, finally, if we keep winning 2 of 3 or 2 of 3 of 4, we could be the contender that we should be. It's every single time you can win series is a good thing. And you don't always have to sweep. You don't always have to win 7 in a row. Like, I mean, great for the Mariners. The Mariners are doing, the Mariners are playing ball like they were supposed to play ball at the beginning of the year, and they're doing it in a big long streak. However, it's not as flashy, it's not as fun, it's not as engaging as a 7-game win streak, but connecting series wins, especially for the Rockies this year, is something they're going to do, especially when this team hasn't shown the ability to win more than 2-3 games in a row. The Rockies, I don't think, have a 4-game win streak this entire season. Maybe it stretching back to the beginning of the year, but at least of late, that's certainly not the case. Joel DeGray says, I feel like Freeland is dealing with the yips. Didn't the D-backs third baseman have 2 errors today? Let me check on those errors, at least listed on the scorecard today. 2 errors are listed on the scorecard. Let's see if I can see who was responsible for those errors. I can't at the moment on my simple thing, but I believe it was I think it was the third baseman, because the third baseman was the one that threw the errant throw there that would have been a killer double play. Classic Rockies. Great base running, great smart base running there. From the Rockies in that situation, but I can't remember the other error, because it was a little in and out for when I was watching and catching some stuff, so I might not have caught that. But there are 2 errors on the scorecard, and I'm pretty positive it was the third baseman for the D-backs responsible for both, which is surprising because the D-backs played some pretty darn good defense in this series. We saw some great outfield defense from Diamondbacks defenders in this one. But Joel, to go with your first point of Freeland dealing with the yips, I don't know if it's the yips. I mean, that's such a different. I think Freeland has the confidence. I think Freeland isn't not confident. I really am starting to wonder more and more about what Rockies pitchers are being taught this year, and what is the reason that they are seeing these struggles. And I think Freeland is one out of the Rockies rotation to show the frustration, both on the face and just in general, about being, I'm not saying he has outbursts. I just think he's a little bit more expressive and a little bit more prone to the bigger outbursts than your Senzatellas and your Marquez and your Gombers are. I think Freeland takes what he does incredibly seriously, and that passion also boils into a lot of that frustration. So I'm not sitting there and thinking that Kyle isn't confident in the fact that he can go after these players. I think he's just frustrated and I think I would have to imagine it has to be for all of the Rockies pitchers, that the pitches and that their plan of attack just isn't working. They're not they're not missing, they're not locating. But that kind of leads me into one thing I wanted to kind of go on the positive before we do have the worrisome news from the weekend, but that hopefully won't be too bad. But German Marquez comes out and throws a gem today. And German Marquez has, clearly shown a couple of times this season, it's not been consistent, far from consistent, that he can still go out and have a solid day at the yard, especially 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 earns, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. That's a good line, especially what we've seen with German, 3 hits. Again, can't avoid that home run bug. Still always going to be, I mean, he is that's part of what I mean. It's the regression of Rockies pitching and some of the stuff that has to be frustrating. And on from Herman's perspective, giving up the long ball has to be that. Why is German Marquez giving up more home runs? Why are all the Rockies pitchers facing either a career high in ERA or a second highest career ERA if the season was to end today? Those are questions more for, I don't think, the players themselves versus the approach and the attack from the coaching staff. I really, and I got to dive into more, and I got some stats and some numbers from my buddy. I've talked about him on the show here before from Jambron, but I think there's the deeper thing is not pitchers with the yips or pitchers with lack of abilities, because I think all of these pitchers are honestly good. Maybe the advanced statistics don't always dive in and support that, but they've been better and they have better potential. And why are we seeing such regression this year? Especially with the Rockies making some changes and stuff in the offseason when it comes to with the coaches and the stuff that they have. That's kind of the bigger thing. Another big thing, the big takeaway, my big spooky tease that I had there, the injuries to CJ Cron and to Iglesias there as well. It is something we have to watch out for. I mean, both Jose Iglesias and CJ Cron have been instrumental for the Rockies this year. I really, I got to tell you, folks, I did not think that Jose Iglesias would play such a big role on this team as he has, but the good news, obviously, I'm sure most of you saw from the weekend, X-rays negative. They weren't back-to-back games. They haven't been in the lineup. Bud Black, I believe, said at the end of this game, I think I saw one of the beat reporters that the hope is to get back this week. And so 2 players that the Rockies absolutely must have. I mean, I'm good that Montero can get some more ABs, because we love Connor Joe, but holy smokes. Connor Joe has so far to go at first base. He just, that double, that play, that the scoring play today, he has gotten too lost at first base too many times. He's overcomplicating the position of first base. I really feel that's just my hot take. I don't know, but I'd rather let Montero be taking the reps over there than and put fit Connor Joe somewhere else in your lineup, in somewhere else for the team, because Connor Joe has not played first base very well at all this year. And it's very, very, very surprising, because I feel like he has some of it, but it's interesting that mental part of it. It's, where do I go with the play? Where am I taking this pitch, or where am I taking this throw? Where am I taking, if the ball's hit to me, where am I going? And it just seems like he has, and there's usually a plan in place. And it seems like Connor Joe has had a couple of times now where he hasn't had that plan in place. It hasn't worked out for him in that instance. But again, he doesn't play first base all the time. He's still incredibly valuable for the Rockies in multiple other ways. But if we do have to look for one thing to be critical of our guy Connor Joe, and that is the case. But so again, I'm really, really excited about Chris Bryant's performance this weekend. Really excited by German Marquez today with getting back to, again, limited damage. It was the Rockies certainly weren't backing him up until late, but keeping himself low on the hits, getting some strikeouts, couple of walks, which is a bummer. The long ball, of course, the venom still kind of poisoning him a little bit there, but hey. Still, that's a great start. Great start. And you put your team, at the end of the day, we're asking Rockies pitching to put the Rockies in the position to win the game their entire start. And that entire start, the Rockies were in a position to win that game. And German did a good job. And I love Herman. I like a lot of these Rockies pitchers, which is so frustrating. And the same, I think a lot of you kind of can see how the way I talk about Freeland, I really like Freeland and Marquez, and I really want them to be successful because I really like that they've embodied being a Rockies pitcher. It's something that's very important to them, and so they're the two pitchers of that I always kind of like to focus a lot on, and on my fandom. That's kind of where that comes out as well. And if you want to see more about your fandom, maybe see what that card collection of yours is all about, and maybe worth, if you're looking to move on from some cards, or maybe you want to get in on the card hobby. And what better way to get in on but you want to do it your way, and you want to be a Rockies credit or baseball card collector, and you want to see what the market's like for Rockies card collection, well, the Sports Card Investor app is going to help you do that, because it is the sports card world reimagined. The Sports Card Investor app is the hobby's most powerful resource. You can quickly check the value of your favorite cards, find great deals, and profit from the hobby you love. You've seen me go on the show. We've gone on. They got the helpful eBay charts right there. You can track the prices of cards. We were talking Charlie Blackmon cards. We were looking at some old Chris Bryant cards, some Ryan McMahon cards. Find your favorite Rocky. See what your favorite card is worth. Maybe if you want to, or that card that you remember from back in the day. Look it up. I bet you they got it there on the Sports Card Investor app. It's free in the Google Play and Apple App Store, and the Sports Card Investor app is a must-have for baseball fans. Folks, it's completely free, and you can browse over 630,000 cards from every sport, with hundreds more added each week. Check the latest values of your favorite cards with 7-day or 30-day charts, and it's right there. You look up a card, you got the great view of it. It brings up the features of the card. It tells you the specific data that you're looking for, and it's also got the helpful eBay chart that goes there and tracks the 30-day, the 7-day, whatever you want to see. You can see those numbers there at the Sports Card Investor app. Download the Sports Card Investor app today, available for free in the Google Play and Apple App Stores, or go to sportscardinvestor.com/lockedon. That's sportscardinvestor.com/lockedon. I just found a huge stack of old baseball cards that I'm very excited to go through and check out on that website as well, but also just look at, because I love the back of old baseball cards when they had the cartoons. You guys know, you know what I'm talking about? They kind of had the little cartoon. I feel like there was like a series of characters that they had on the back of baseball cards, usually when they kind of were near the gum or whatever. But I always liked those cards. I love the look of 90s baseball cards. Joel in the live chat says, I totally agree about Kojo. It just feels like first base isn't organic for how he's wired to play the game. Yeah, there is some. I think that's kind of a good way to pit it. It's just, there's something about outfield that seems more organic to him, that just seems like he's more comfortable, more confident playing there. And when on first base, I'm not used to seeing Connor Joe kind of deer in headlights since he's been on the Rockies. And now we've seen it a couple of times at first base, where it's just kind of, he gets the ball and it's just kind of like, huh? And that's just so not what we've seen when it comes to this confident player that has kind of been pieced and put elsewhere and seen good success, good consistency, and good approach. He's always had a good approach, a good you might, that's always something you can take at least. But first base has seemed to be the struggle for Connor Joe. Let's look ahead here. I mean, I think the again, Arizona series, lot to like there. 1-run games, Rockies coming back there, especially after getting trounced in the Saturday game there, when things just kept getting out of hand, crooked numbers and all innings. And now back home with a stint against the Padres and the Pirates. It's the Padres. They're really good, but the Rockies have played the NL West, and especially the Padres, really well this year. This could be in an interesting spot where the Rockies might be able to continue to. The Rockies when doing the show, I haven't seen them dip in their last tens to too low below 500. They've either been kind of around 500, maybe one up, 1 to 2 below. They've been kind of, and once you get to that 3 and 7, that's where it gets a little. But the Rockies have been playing decently well over kind of 10-day stretches, 7-day stretches, which is good. And again, you're gonna hit freight train. You're gonna hit the Dodger freight train, especially with this schedule. And if you can, even a series split here, you feel good. A series split with the Padres here gives you 5 out of the last 8 won. And then with the Pirates coming in town, it's the freaking Pirates. And with Chris Bryant, hopefully the Rockies aren't going to be belittled and not be able to score any runs like they did in Pittsburgh. And maybe that X factor, the Bryant factor, plays a big enough role in that game where the Rockies can go. And a series win against the Pirates puts you in a nice little stretch of winning baseball. Now you got to get the Padres to do that first, and that's no easy task, especially when the Rockies are going to be sitting here wondering. Chris Bryant and Jose Iglesias need to get back in the lineup. We still don't know when that's coming. We still don't know. We've been told this week, but how many times were we told this week with Chris Bryant? So I'm glad, again, those are massive things we have to look. And one thing we didn't talk about, the Rockies do in fact have their all-star representative, and it is indeed the first baseman for the Colorado Rockies, CJ Cron. Not a surprise. I think after the stretch he went on there for a little bit, there was a couple interesting pieces. I think Chad Kuhl, as Joel says there, he's now a 91 overall in MLB The Show 22. Nice. Good for you, Chad. That's going to feel great. That's got to feel good when you see, if you're a player, maybe it's one with a history like Cool, and then you get to see yourself up in the 90s, seeing yourself bump up in the games. That's got to be cool. But on top of what's cool to watch yourself, the stats rise in the video game. I'm sure few things are cooler than being selected as your team's all-star representative. And CJ Cron, it makes sense. That's who I would send if I was the Rockies. That would be easily my pick. He's having a career season. He has been someone that has been absolutely instrumental in the success of the Colorado Rockies. 2.8 WAR so far this season with a 295 batting average, those 20 home runs, 66 RBIs, 350 OBP, slugging 551, OPS of 901, that batting average sitting there at 295. No brainer. Should have gotten a little bit more love from the fan vote, but that first base class was absolutely locked and loaded. But hey, great news for the Rockies as CJ Cron is a great representative for the 2022 Colorado Rockies. Folks, I'm going to wind things down here from the studio on the road. We'll be back in action with another pod Tuesday, but I should be back home, so it'll be a little bit later in the day, or maybe I'll pop in and we'll record something here tomorrow after the game. It's going to be late, but we might still pop in, and then we'll be done here. I might do one more little pod from my travels here. But folks, hope you enjoyed the show today. Go make Locked On Rockies your first listen every day. But after you make us your first listen, go check out Locked On MLB Prospects. I hope you all enjoyed the episode with Lindsay there with that great insight into the Rockies farm system and a whole lot more. And you can find all sorts of your favorite podcasts on the Locked On Podcast Network. And you can check out the Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, and Locked On Nuggets podcast for your Colorado sports fix. Folks, until next time, I am Paul Holden. You can please subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow me at Paul Holden 33 on Twitter. You can also follow the show on Twitter at LO Rockies. And until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.